So, are we actually on the brink of a historic peace deal between the United States and Iran? According to Donald Trump, the answer is a big yes. Now, this is a claim that could totally reshape the Middle East. Today, we're going to unpack exactly what he said, why he said it, and, whether it's even happening. So, let's get into it. And there it is, the bombshell. At the heart of it all is this one claim that Iran, after decades of pretty much saying no way, has agreed to give up the one thing the West is most afraid of. It's enriched uranium. Seriously, if this is true, it would be one of the biggest diplomatic wins in a generation. Just massive.
But hold on, the uranium claim didn't come by itself. Trump actually announced a two-part development. First, you've got the uranium deal, and second, there's this 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon that seems to be connected. And that second piece is super important because a ceasefire was a key demand from Iran. So you have to wonder, are these two things linked?
Okay, so why is everyone so focused on this uranium claim? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it's because this isn't just about some mineral. It's about the potential for nuclear weapons. Let's quickly break down what enriched uranium even means. In the simplest terms, it's uranium that's been processed to get more of the good stuff, an isotope called U-235. Now, once you get that purity level up to 90%, boom, you've got weapons-grade material. And that is the absolute red line for both the US and Israel. The fear is that Iran could build a nuclear bomb. And just to give you some perspective on how far apart these two sides were, think about this. The US was demanding that Iran stop its enrichment program for at least 20 years. Iran's counteroffer? A mere 5. I mean, that is a huge gap. So for Iran to suddenly agree to hand over its entire stockpile, that would be a complete 180, a monumental shift. So if this is really happening, you have to ask, what on earth could have forced such a dramatic change of heart? Well, according to the source material, the answer is an incredibly intense, aggressive pressure campaign from the U.S. As part of that pressure, Trump claims the U.S. Navy has sunk a staggering 158 Iranian ships. 158. Now, that number suggests a level of conflict that goes way beyond what's been publicly reported. It's a key part of his argument that Iran was basically forced to the negotiating table. And this pressure, it wasn't just random. It was a very calculated strategy. The plan was pretty simple and pretty brutal. Deploy the U.S. Navy to create a full-on naval blockade. The goal? Stop all of Iran's oil exports, which is the lifeblood of their economy, and create just unbearable economic pain. And listen, this wasn't just a threat. We're talking about a massive military deployment. 10,000 American sailors, advanced destroyers patrolling right off the coast, and fighter jets in the air, ready to go. The sources say that U.S. forces have been actively turning Iranian oil tankers around, stopping them before they can even leave port. The message couldn't be clearer. Your economy is being shut down. But all that pressure is really only half the story here. Every big, high-stakes negotiation needs a mediator, a go-between. And in this case, the broker is a country that, well, it might just surprise you. Yup, Trump himself pointed straight at Pakistan. He went out of his way to praise their army chief and their prime minister, and even hinted that he might visit the country. This puts Pakistan right in the middle of these secret talks, acting as the bridge between two old enemies. And right after those initial talks in Islamabad, it looks like Pakistani leadership went into overdrive. Their army chief flew directly to Iran, apparently carrying a new offer from the Americans. And at the same time, the prime minister was on a tour of the Gulf, meeting with leaders in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey, probably to get everyone in the region on board with the deal. Now, this all raises a pretty big question. Why would Pakistan stick its neck out like this? Well, the source material alleges this isn't just about good diplomacy. It claims Pakistan is essentially acting as a paid broker, and that they received $500 million from Saudi Arabia to help get this deal done. So we have the American claim, we have the intense military pressure, and we have the Pakistani broker. But the biggest question of all still hangs in the air. Is any of this actually real? And this is exactly where the story gets really murky. Because on one side, you have Donald Trump very confidently announcing this historic agreement, and on the other side, complete and total official silence from Iran. The only whispers coming out of the country are from these unconfirmed media reports denying everything. That contrast, right there, is the central mystery of this whole thing. But amidst all the noise and all the silence, there is one concrete piece of evidence that suggests something is going on. Remember that 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon? Well, it's real. It's happening right now. And since that was a major demand from Iran, the fact that it's been delivered could be the very first tangible sign that a much bigger deal is actually in the works.
So we're left with this puzzle, right? Loud claims from America, deafening silence from Iran, a very surprising broker, and one very real ceasefire. It really makes you wonder, are we watching a genuine first step toward peace? Or is this all just another masterclass in the art of the deal?